Hi everybody, and welcome to this grand final Castlevania 2 randomizer matchup between Big Daddy Drums and Xytoriak. This is going to be the second time these two have met in a final of a CV2R tournament. They met a couple years ago in the final of the Simon Claus tournament. Xytoriak needs one win to finish since he went through the main bracket undefeated. Big Daddy Drums needs to win 2 in a row to take it down. So we'll see what happens. We got both runners have the seeds loaded up, and we're just about ready to start. And if you're new to this randomizer, if you haven't seen it played before, our runners are going to be trying to pick up 5 Dracula body parts. They're going to try to pick up 3 crystals and a magic cross. Those are the items they need to finish the game. Along the way, they'll also be looking for offensive upgrades and possibly some holy water, which will give them access to some different areas of the map. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go along. Thank you for the raid, Podridin1. Welcome in. And what we're going to see here, we have standard flags, which means that all locations are in their normal places, but the items are going to be shuffled around, the enemies are going to be shuffled around. So we'll see how this goes for our runners. They're going to check out probably we'll see what they do here. Yeah, both runners are going to check the items in the town first. And we start with a ring. That's one of the 5 Dracula body parts. Don't ask me how the ring is a body part, but that's what it's classified as. That's one of the required items. That's going to be 93 hearts. And we got a nail. That's an interesting one. That's another Dracula body part. It also has a use. It's going to allow our runners to break vertical blocks, which will give them access to a few more areas in the game. And then our third item is the heart, which gives our runners access to the Brahms Mansion location. And that's 4 checks that are open now once they buy that item. Both runners doing the right side grind here. Actually, Big Daddy Drums going to use the warp feature and head back to the start area. You can pause and do an up and A, and that brings you back to the start. You also see our runners doing floor drops here. It's a frame perfect trick that allows you to drop through certain floors if you get on the frame right after you fall off a ledge that's 2 tiles high. That'll save our runners a bit of time here. But Big Daddy Drums bails on that left side. That enemy set was not to his liking. Meanwhile, Xytoriak has found some good enemies over here on this 3rd screen. This enemy set drops a lot of hearts. We've got the mummies and the plants, which are going to drop big hearts, which are worth 6 hearts and 5 experience. And those ghosts are also worth 6 and 5. That's a lot. That's probably okay. Meanwhile, we're going to have Big Daddy Drums do the zombie grind here. This is one of the easier grinds to pick up some early hearts and experience. So the question on the nail item, basically there are certain blocks in the game that are breakable. Any that are not on the floor, basically any vertical blocks that are breakable, can be broken if you equip the nail and hit the blocks with your whip. There's a few shops that are accessible with that, as well as a couple areas of the game. You get Big Daddy Drums getting level 1 at 100 experience. Got Xytoriak picking up that nail. That's going to be very useful to him. And Big Daddy Drums as well picking up the nail. That's probably the highest priority here. And Big Daddy Drums out of the town first. Well, Xytoriak is going to pick up his heart for 92 hearts. Heart for heart. And you'll see our runners doing some weird looking jumping to set up those floor drops. A lot of the floor drops require a specific subpixel to be able to do, so you'll see the runners using known patterns of jumping in order to set up that subpixel. Xytoriak taking a death here. He's down to his last life on his first continue. Not a huge penalty here for game over. You do lose half your hearts and half your experience if you do game over. Xytoriak unable to get across the swamp. This looks like a pretty tricky swamp. See if he... Yeah, he's going to head back and probably go right as well. Big Daddy Drums he's gonna take a death. He's got 1 life left. But he's gonna head down to the town of or to the town of Veros, I'm sorry. It's hard to keep these town names straight, but this is the town of Veros he's heading into. And he's gonna use that nail here to break these blocks. You're gonna see it right here. That gives him access to this shop. Now, in the vanilla game, normally you'd probably use the holy water, but since our runners don't have that yet, they're making use of that nail. Big Daddy Drums did pick up the Dracula's Eye, which is one of the required items to finish the game. So that gets him 1 step closer to completing the seed. And now we're back into the daytime. Xytoriak is going to take another stab at this swamp. Big Daddy Drums getting harassed by that Medusa head. One of the more relentless enemies in the game. And can spawn in some pretty nasty locations in the randomizer. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of body parts early on. That's a little bit unusual. So this has to be potential to be a bit of a jet seed if we continue to find items early. Xytoriak going to try to get across the river here. Yeah, he didn't like those river enemies. So he's actually going to warp back home. That river can spawn some pretty nasty enemy sets. Meanwhile, we've got Big Daddy Drums over here, and he's going to do a nice floor drop there. He's going to use the nail again to break these blocks and pick up an oak stake. Oak stakes are required to break the orbs that are in each mansion. So that's definitely an item you want to have if you're going to head into a mansion. He's going to use the eyeball here, and that's going to allow him to see this clue book, and that's going to give him location of 1 item. And he finds that's a pretty useful clue. There's an oak stake available in Rover Mansion, so if he wants to go into Rover Mansion, he'll be able to buy an oak stake before breaking the orb. He's not going to have to locate one before heading over there. So that's pretty useful knowledge. The eyeball allows you to see all of the clues, which are in the vanilla game, of course, completely useless. But in the randomizer, the clues can be very useful, and you can actually save several minutes if you get a good clue. Yeah, apologies, we don't have a tracker set up today. This is on a little bit short notice. Big Daddy Drums is going to head up to the top of the town of Algebra, and there's a free check up there. Meanwhile, Xytoriak gonna get his check in Barros, equipping that nail there. He's gonna not have enough money for the eyeball, so that is unfortunate. Guy Drum's picking up Crystal. You need to get 3 crystals to finish the game. And also, upgrading your crystal allows you access to different parts of the game. A death there for Big Daddy Drums. We'll see. Looks like he's gonna... Well, he decides not to go left. I think he might go over and head to Berkeley Mansion, which is the first mansion. In a normal, casual playthrough. And with that oak stake, he'll be able to get an additional check and check both potential items there. Meanwhile, Xytoriak farming some hearts, and he's going to head over and have enough money to buy this eyeball. And I would say Big Daddy Drums is out to an early lead here. Xytoriak spent a lot of time trying to get over to that left side and wasn't able to. So that's cost him a bit of time. Well, we're going to have Xytoriak grinding some experience here. At 150 experience, you pick up level 2, which is actually probably the biggest level up you can get. In addition to full health refill, it also gives you 50% damage reduction, as well as an additional 4 bars of health, which are huge, and it allows you to stay alive a lot longer. Drums unintentionally selected the password feature, which is not something you want to do, but fortunately was able to cancel out of that screen and get back into his gameplay. We're very light on offense so far in the seed. We haven't seen a single offensive upgrade. We've seen a lot of required items. Big Daddy Drums getting bullied by those graveyard enemies. Oh, and Xytoriak dies in that swamp area, so he's going to take another game over. So, really difficult combat so far in the seed. You might see Xytoriak go all the way to level 2 here. Big Daddy Drums does indeed head it into Berkeley Mansion. He'll be able to pick up 2 checks. He'll also be able to get 3 clues if he chooses to take the time to do so, which could be super valuable early on. Clues tend to lose their value as the game goes on, as you know where more items are and you've done more checks. This early in the game, 3 clues could be really helpful and help our runners kind of figure out where they want to go next or where they want to finish up the seed. Xytoriak continues to do the grind. He's trying to get level 2 here. Big Daddy Drums for now with level 1. And he is in a level 1 area here, which means he cannot get experience toward level 2 in this area. Meanwhile, Xytoriak is in a level 2 area, so he's able to gain experience with these. Still about 45 XP short of that level, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful here if he wants to get that next level up. Well, that's just his first death. I didn't see if Big Daddy Drums went to get that first clue. I don't think he did. I was looking at Xytoriak's screen. Those relentless Medusa heads, handing Xytoriak another death. We've got the clue of garlic in Brahm's orb. I didn't see what the item was. I don't know if anyone caught that. And garlic is an item that allows you to get other items. If you have garlic, you can drop it in one of the graveyard areas and an NPC will appear to give you a free item. Thanks, Wyvern, saying that that's a blue crystal. And blue crystal will give our runners access to the Rover Mansion area. Xytoriak picking up that clue. Big Daddy Drums getting a silk bag from the orb in Berkeley Mansion. Not a required item. It can be useful in certain situations. It increases the number of laurels that you can hold. Laurels giving the player invincibility for a limited amount of time. You can have up to 8 laurels if you have the silk bag, as opposed to the normal 4. In certain situations where there's a bunch of free laurels available, that can be super useful, but definitely not required. Meanwhile, Xytoriak picking up level 2. And it looks like he's going to head over to Berkeley. Big Daddy Drums doing some farming. I think he might be trying to buy some items or potentially, I'm not sure exactly what he's up to, but he's going to head to the left and try this swamp again. Runners have still not found anything that would help with the swamp. Daddy Drums taking a death in the swamp. Xytoriak misses the platform. There's an invisible platform that you can see if you have a crystal equipped, but it's not required to equip the crystal. But if you miss it, you can still fall into the water. While Big Daddy Drums trying to get across the swamp. He's gonna make it across. Let's see what kind of luck he has with this river, though. This is an extremely difficult river, and that plant does a ton of damage. And also knocks back. This is going to be very tough to get across. Xytoriak gonna check the clue here. Golden knife for Cell and Elba. Nice job by bigdaddydrums to get a damage boost past the plant. So he's the first one across that very difficult river. And bigdaddydrums gonna get this first look at this free check, and it's not what he was looking for. It's the Sacred Flame. That is a sub-weapon that can be useful in certain circumstances, but most of the time it's something that you just aren't that interested in. We got a dagger. That's actually a pretty useful item at this point, since our runners don't have any offense. That dagger does a flat 2 points of damage. And it also gives you the ability to crit some of the bosses in the game and do a huge amount of damage if you do a frame perfect trick. I don't know if bigdaddydrums just didn't have the money to afford it, or if he just decided that he didn't need it right now. But if I were him, I would probably be trying to get that as soon as possible, considering how poor our offense is right now. Now Xytoriak picking up that white crystal. Actually, it was a blue crystal for bigdaddydrums since he already had the white crystal. Okay, we got bigdaddydrums' stream is frozen. I'm looking at his live stream. He's still looks like he's still going. This might be an issue on the restream end. Hopefully that gets resolved. Alright, we got bigdaddydrums back up live again. He's doing a little bit of farming here. Xytoriak picking up his silk bag. He's going to head out of Berkeley Mansion. bigdaddydrums seeing some laurels there. He's going to pick up 1 pack of those for 45 hearts. And that will give him the ability to have invincibility for a few seconds if he activates those, which could be very useful in getting, especially in getting across that river in the future. He's going to do a bit of farming on these zombies. Let's see what the item in this shop is. And it's another oak stake. Bigdaddydrums does pick it up. It's potentially useful, but not something he needed right away. He was looking for something that would either give him some offense or give him some progression. He's going to do a bit more farming here. Maybe he's going to go and grab that dagger, potentially, or maybe he's planning on buying something else. I'm not sure. Xytoriak going to go ahead and pick up another oak stake over here. That Sacred Flame spot, which is normally the Sacred Flame in the vanilla game. Today it has an oak stake. Big Daddy Drums. Okay, he picked up his ring. He actually didn't have the ring yet. And Xytoriak taking game over, and still difficult combat here with the lack of offense. Big Daddy Drums going to use his laurels. He also has the option of going over to Brahms Mansion area. Does have that heart, which if you show it to the ferryman will allow you to head over to the different area. I'm thinking he's probably gonna want to use a laurel here. Yeah, and he does in the second try. Yeah, Big Daddy Drums does use the heart, so he's going to check out this Brahms Mansion area. I think Xytoriak just picked up his second crystal, if I'm not mistaken. So there is one free check over here at the far left on in this area where the diamond normally is. A pretty useless item, but in the randomizer, this area often has a really valuable item, so runners generally want to check it unless they have some knowledge that the item there is not something they need. I didn't see. Was that garlic? I didn't think I missed that. Yeah, garlic for Big Daddy Drums, which means he'll be able to get 2 additional checks. Also, as Kalari pointing out, you can use the garlic to kill death, the boss of the Brahms Mansion, which he's about to do. That's a very slow kill, but a very safe kill. So we'll see if he tries to do that. Meanwhile, we've got Xytoriak heading over to the Rover Mansion area. He's got that blue crystal, so he's got access to that. We know there's only one available check here, because one check that'll be useful. One of the checks is an oak stake. Let's see if Xytoriak remembers that clue, or if he goes ahead and checks it anyway. This is a little bit dicey here for Big Daddy Drums. He doesn't have a lot of hearts, and he still doesn't have any offense, so it's going to be very difficult to navigate through here, but I think he's going to be able to get through. It's questionable, though, if he'll have enough hearts to be able to buy the item at the vendor. We'll see about that. Yeah, it looks like Xytoriak's skipping that vendor, so he probably remembered that he has a clue that the vendor has an oak stake, which he doesn't need, he already has one. So both runners going up in different mansions. So we get kind of a divergence of paths here, since both runners checking a mansion that the other one hasn't. Again, we see it's taking a lot of hits to kill these enemies, especially in Brahms Mansion, which is kind of a mid-game dungeon, whereas Rover is kind of an early game dungeon, so Xytoriak might have a little bit easier time here in Rover Mansion. He's gonna check this clue out over here. And Thea, something you already knew, which is that there's a crystal in algebra. Big Daddy Drums, meanwhile, gonna pick up the clue over here, and he's gonna find out about the garlic that he just got, which doesn't help him very much. Oh, that was the dagger. So I must have been mistaken. Whatever was for sale in Alba was not the dagger. It must have been either the silver knife or the gold knife. And Xytoriak has his floor drop interrupted by a fireball, unfortunately. So he has lost his subpixel, so he's gonna have to try to brute force this. Meanwhile, Big Daddy Drums setting up a floor drop over here. Misses the shortcut. If you do a 3-frame jump there, you can take a shortcut into Death's room. Is Xytoriak gonna pick up that oak stake on the way out? Nice use of time for him there. Big Daddy Drums trying to drop that garlic, and he can't get Death to sit on it. Hopefully he doesn't run out. There he goes. Now he's got it. This is going to take a little bit, so Big Daddy Drums can go get a coffee, or maybe a bite to eat right now. This is going to take quite a bit of time for this garlic to do its magic. We did get a clue that Carmilla has a whip, which makes Carmilla not required today. But we'll see if our runners elect to take her down for that whip upgrade, or if they choose to skip her. And Xytoriak nicely getting over that plant. And he's going to see the left side, I believe, for the first time in this seed. And Big Daddy Drums still slowly but surely taking down this boss. Xytoriak picks up the free Sacred Flame. And Big Daddy Drums picking up the red crystal. Oh, it was the gold knife that's in the vendor. Xytoriak does pick that up. That is a useful item. So Xytoriak has both the dagger and the gold knife. The gold knife is capable of stunning enemies if you throw it at an enemy. It does 3 hits for the amount of damage that your whip does. So it gets better as the game goes on. Meanwhile, the dagger kind of stays the same at 2 damage. But the dagger is still relevant because it can one-shot Death, actually. So we might see Xytoriak try to use that Lich on Death to kill him really fast. It also can kill Dracula in 2 hits, so that dagger gets pretty useful either in the beginning of the game or toward the end of the game. Meanwhile, we've got Big Daddy Drums heading to the left. And he might be making everyone's favorite play here, going to Doina, or he might be going to the graveyard to pick up the item from there. And the red crystal, now that he has that, gives him access to a warp to the far right side of the map. Xytoriak doing a farm over here for hearts. A little bit slow, but this isn't a terrible spot to farm. The big problem is that he doesn't have a lot of offense, though. Big Daddy Drums taking a death down to his last life on this continue. Yeah, we're seeing a lot more deaths than you might normally see since our runners have not been able to locate any whip upgrades. Also, Big Daddy Drum's still on level 1, so that's making him very squishy. Normally at this point you want to be at least level 2. Xytoriak already at level 2. Level 2 it gives you 50% damage reduction, up from 25 at level 1. It also gives you an additional 4 bars of health. You can see Xytoriak's health bar is a little bit bigger than Big Daddy Drums, and that's because he's level 2. Yeah, but this is a very difficult combat seed with a lack of offensive upgrades. Looks like Big Daddy Drum's going to buy some additional laurels. I think we're going to see Big Daddy Drums make the jump to the other side. And there's only one reason why he might be going... Well, there's two reasons. One is that there's a clue book over here, but the more likely reason is he's going to warp over and head over to the town of Doina, which has one check in the vendor. Doina is a bit of a meme in the CV2R community, as it's normally the last place you're going to check. But here, with having the red crystal this early on in the seed, Big Daddy Drum is going to head over there early. Hopefully, for him, maybe get a little bit of an advantage, because that's not necessary. Oh, he's going to check also... Oh, there is a check over here. Since he has the nail, he can check the spot that normally has the flame whip. Forgot about this spot. Well, Xytoriak going to head over to Brahm's mansion himself. And there's a bingo for Big Daddy Drums. He's got the holy water. And that's going to open up quite a few new checks to him. So that could give him a big advantage going forward. And I have to say, since he's picked that up, that looks like he's got a clear advantage right now in this seed. Big Daddy Drum's going to elect to go into Bodley Mansion. This is a little bit of a non-standard play, but if this has something that he needs to finish the game, he's going to have a huge advantage here, because this is not a mansion that you usually go into this early, and there's so many other checks available. But if he gets a required item here, it's going to pay off big time. Meanwhile, Xytoriak making use of that dagger, which does 2 points of damage, as opposed to the 1 that the leather whip does. And both runners still on that leather whip. This is, again, pretty brutal as far as combat goes. We'll see. I think bigdaddydrums is going to try to get level 2 here. These enemies are going to have... A lot of these enemies are going to have 1 hit point. Because the enemies that they replace in the vanilla game only have 1 hit point. So this can be potentially a fast grind. Needs another 22 experience, so I think he'll probably just try to pick that up here. The skull is pretty tanky, though. And bigdaddydrums needing 1 more kill to get that level. And they're 40 minutes in, finally getting level 2, so that'll be a relief for him. Right, that's a good point there by Silverbane. The whips are actually progressive, so the first whip you get will always be the Thorn Whip, the second will always be the Chain Whip, the third will always be the Morning Star, and then the fourth whip upgrade will always be the Thorn Whip. Oh, Drums take a game over there. That could be costly. He lost half his hearts there. If he doesn't have enough money to buy whatever item is here, this could be a big deal. This could cost him a bunch of time. Fortunately for him, it is the silver knife, which is the most useless item in the game. So, doesn't have to worry about that now. Well, Xytoriak hitting that 3-frame window to skip directly into Death's Room. And he's going to try to show off this dagger kill. And you can actually one-shot Death with the dagger. Well, bigdaddydrums picking up the magic cross. That's a required item. And there's the one-shot kill after a few tries, and picking up a crystal. Bigdaddydrums getting bullied by that Medusa head. We still haven't seen any whip upgrades. Bigdaddydrums 1 step closer to completing the game. He's got that magic cross that's required. And Clary pointing out that bigdaddydrums just needs the rib. That's 1 item to finish the game. But that could be literally anywhere in any of the checks that we haven't seen yet. So the cross doesn't have any function. The only thing it's used for is it's required to enter the last level, basically. We'll see if bigdaddydrums might not have enough money to buy whatever's here. He's only got, I think, 78 hearts, which is not going to buy a whole lot. But he's going to check the check anyway. If there's nothing here, he can just warp out and check some other checks. And it's just an oak stake, not a required item at this second. So the question is, where is that last item? Yeah, there are 4 locations that you can check with the holy water that you couldn't check with the rib. So we'll see if bigdaddydrums checks those. There's 1 location in the town of Veros, 2 locations in the town of Algeba, and 1 additional location in the town of Alba. Xytoriak gonna fill up on laurels. He's got that silk bag, so he can get all of the laurels. Looks like he's gonna go for the graveyard boost here. Yes, that is a duck in the graveyard. It's an inside joke based on one of the mistranslated clues in the vanilla game, where one of the NPCs talks about a graveyard duck. Okay, Drum's gonna check the check here in town of Veros. This is the check that he couldn't check earlier. There's also a clue here, so we'll probably check that as well. And he finds a clue that he could not have gotten. He does get a whip upgrade, so finally, 47 minutes into the seed, we have our first whip upgrade. Meanwhile, Xytoriak safe across the graveyard into the wrong warp and into Laruva Mansion. This is going to be a challenge. This is the most difficult mansion, and he's trying to do it on a leather whip. Not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Gonna make use of a laurel here. Smart play, I think, there. To get through that staircase. And using another laurel to get up the stairs, so that's good use of the laurels there. Oh, he fell down. That's gonna cost him a laurel. He's gonna use another one. He had 8 laurels because he got the refill from the graveyard, and with that silk bag, pretty valuable there. Gets knocked into the spikes, taking a death. Oh, game over. Hopefully he still has enough hearts to get whatever item this is. And a little frustration there. He could not afford the whip upgrade. I don't think he would have been able to anyway, even if he didn't take that game over. And a Laurel refill for Xytoriak. This time the jump there a little bit get knocked into the spikes, but stays alive. Okay, Drum's gonna check out these two algebra checks. I didn't catch what the item there was in... Oh, more laurels, okay, so... Not a useful item. I mean, it is useful, but it's not what he was looking for. He's looking for that one last item, the rib, to finish up the seed. And we see that there were 2 whip upgrades in Laruba. And it looks like Xytoriak might not get either of them. Big Daddy Drum's gonna check out this second shop here. Trying to remember where the holes in the floor are in this particular room. Does manage to get that floor drop, so nicely done there. And some more laurels, so coming up empty again here, Big Daddy Drums. We'll see if he heads over to Laruba. He can actually do a jump across the swamp if he wants to. I don't think we've seen this garlic check either. At least I don't think Big Daddy has. That, yeah, we definitely have not seen that, so that's a whip upgrade. So Big Daddy Drum's picking up a second whip upgrade. He's got 2 to none in whip upgrades. Well, I think Xytoriak gonna also get that whip upgrade pretty quickly. Yeah, Xytoriak nicely getting that graveyard jump, using the extra height you get from the whip to get over that 3 high block. And he's going to head over to Laruba. We know that there's nothing there for him, but he will get a couple of whip upgrades if he wants them. Yeah, we're basically out of checks. I think the upstairs in Elba is the only check we haven't seen yet, actually. And Xytoriak going a little unorthodox path here. He's going to get to the Flame Whip vendor from the left side. And we get 2 vendors spawning. He does get that holy water, so he has the holy water now, which I believe at this point is required. Yeah, and those whip upgrades are huge for Big Daddy Drums. He's gonna be able to get through this mansion a lot easier than Xytoriak was. We'll see if he has enough to buy this third whip upgrade. That'll give him 8 damage from his whip, which is be a big advantage. And he first said no, then he changed his mind and does pick it up. So that Morning Star, the third whip upgrade, going to give him a lot of damage. Pretty big advantage in the damage category now. Xytoriak, meanwhile, can do this check upstairs. We're going to see this check. This is the rib. It's going to put him one item away. So this race has actually gotten really close. And bigdaddydrums possibly forgetting the clue that this is a whip upgrade, or maybe he just wants that last whip upgrade. But this is definitely not required. He's got plenty of offense to finish the game. But he might feel more comfortable with the extra whip upgrade. He is going to grab it. And this is incredibly close at this point. And I think if Drums remembers all his checks, he knows that that rib is right there in the town of Alba. And he's going to make a beeline to that check. Meanwhile, Xytoriak doesn't know where his last check is, but he knows what he's got left. If he elects to gamble and go directly to the orb in Bodley, he might have this one, but if he doesn't, bigdaddydrums is right on his heels. bigdaddydrums has a massive advantage in offense. He's got the best whip in the game, the Flame Whip. Meanwhile, Xytoriak killing enemies with a dagger and a Leather Whip. And Xytoriak electing to warp home, and that might seal the deal. I think that is going to give, unless something catastrophic happens here, I think bigdaddydrums is in the driver's seat right now. Oh, Xytoriak couldn't afford the rib. Okay, well he's even further behind then. And Drums can't afford it either, so he's going to actually have to head out of here and farm. 48 is not enough. But at least he knows where it is for sure. Still a pretty massive advantage here for bigdaddydrums. He just has to farm that last 50 or 60 hearts. Shouldn't take him all that long. Interesting play there that he elected to warp home instead of just exit out of the shop. So Xytoriak's just a little bit of farming here, or bigdaddydrums rather, just a little bit of farming here to get this last item. Xytoriak at 58 minutes is finally going to get his first whip upgrade of the seed. So Big Daddy Drums in go mode at 59 minutes. He took a hit there, and that's going to mess up his subpixel, so this might... Okay, he does get the floor drop relatively quickly there. Big Daddy Drums just needs to walk this one in. He is really far ahead at this point. That play to check Bobby early gave him the knowledge that that item that he needed was there, so he didn't have to do as much running around. He also got that holy water fairly early, which was pretty huge. I imagine both runners feel behind at this point. There was a lot of backtracking in the seed and a lot of very difficult combat in the seed. But here you see Big Daddy Drums finally getting all those whip upgrades. Now he's able to one-shot some of these endgame enemies. Xytoriak going to pick up his second whip upgrade. He's probably thinking he wishes he had that about half an hour ago. Big Daddy Drums using these laurels, these extra laurels he has to get across what we call the Bridge of Doom. Trivializing it with the laurels, giving him invincibility across there, helping out a ton. And this is one of those seeds where getting that silk bag helps out a lot, gives you those extra laurels in your bag to be able to get through these tough screens really easily. And nice floor drop there by Big Daddy Drums. Again, he's just going to have to walk this one in. For the Drac fight, Gold Knife is probably the easiest thing to use. The fastest is actually using the regular vanilla dagger, utilizing a glitch in the code that lets you do a massive amount of damage with that weapon. I don't know if Big Daddy Drums has the dagger. I can't remember if he picked it up. If he doesn't, the fastest way for him is just whip him down with the flame whip. But we'll see what he does here. Okay, Drums using the 6 bonk 4-drop setup there. He's going to attempt our... Oh, and a quad drop for Big Daddy Drums. Nicely done. That has to feel pretty good. That is a very difficult trick, and to pull it off in a race situation is pretty impressive. Big Daddy Drum's going to use the Laurel and Whip Down Drac strategy here, and get your GGs out for Big Daddy Drums, who is your winner here in the first game of what's going to be 2 games in this grand final. And amazing there. Big Daddy Drums saying that's the first quad he's ever got in an actual run. And getting it in the final of a tournament is pretty amazing. Not sure if our runners are going to do the second race shortly, or if they're going to take a little bit of a break, or maybe we'll have to find out if they're going to do the last race. But since Xytoriak won the winner's bracket, he only has to win 1 race to advance. Meanwhile, Big Daddy Drums need to win 2. We're joined here by Xytoriak. Welcome in. GG's.
You're no longer allowed to roll seeds. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that looked like a fun one. What'd you think about? I know there wasn't a whole lot of offense early on in that one.
Yeah, I mean, the only hope that I had, because I was like staring at the race screen the rest of the, like, especially towards the end there, the only hope I had was that Big Daddy Drums had way more trouble getting across the river the first time than I did.
Yeah, he had a little bit better luck than you, and then he actually made the tornado play early, and he got the holy water really early, or relatively early. And then he actually went into Bobley Mansion and picked out the cross early as well.
Oh, okay.
So that was what gave him a leg up.
Yeah, just the lack of offense and the amount of Medusas, especially with the leather whip, because, you can't just stand there and whip them with the leather whip. You at least have to have thorns, so it was just getting knocked around like crazy. And then, finding 2 whips in Laruba, because I knew Carmilla had one from the clue, and then the one that I could not afford. I thought that was like the cherry on top.
Yeah, and Big Daddy Drums he went into Laruba, and he did get both whip upgrades, so he actually had the flame whip there at the end. And to cap it off, he also hit a quad drop to finish off, so he had a really good race.
That's awesome. We love to see quad drops in races.
So I don't know if you guys are going. First of all, I don't know if we're going to be joined by Big Daddy Drums. I know he was having some issues with his mic last night, so maybe he might not stop in. But I don't know if you guys are going to play the second race immediately, or if you're taking a break, or if you're doing it tomorrow. It's up to you guys, I guess.
I think we were
the channel for it.
I think we were planning on doing both. We put that in the notes. So we should. He just said he needed 5 minutes, and then.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so we'll be having a second race here momentarily. So if you enjoyed that one, we've got one more coming up, and the grand final coming up in just a few minutes. So that should be exciting. Hopefully, the next seed won't be as difficult as this first one.
Alright, I'm going to go get ready again, so GG to Big Daddy Drums on the first race and GL for the second one.
Alright, good luck to both runners in race 2. This is going to be pretty exciting. We're going to take a quick break here and we'll be right back.